that ain't so much the case anymore. But, so the lady that owned our property, her name was Luella Kiker, and that's who I think I see in the house. But, at the edge of our property on the upstream side of the creek, there was a dam there, and this whole area was a resort. And that dam created the swimming hole for the resort. Well, in 1933, a flood broke the dam. She had a pool dug in what is now our front yard, diverted the creek into the pool, and then back out of the pool back into the creek bed. So the downstairs of our house, the living room and the kitchen, was built around 1933, 1934, and it was the pool house for the pool. And that was the first pay-to-swim swimming pool in Cotton County, Tennessee. So the chimney is part of the originals of the house, which was the downstairs. And then the deed says the rest of the house was built in 1966. But this rock work is by far older than 1966, and all the work downstairs is definitely older than 1966. As we've done remodeling, this is actually in state of part of a remodel, but I exposed this chimney when we first bought the house. I came in this room, which I'm in my wife's art studio. I came in this room, I was going to say, there is something behind this wall should not be here.
Oh boy.
And, of course, yeah, I did the thing that winds up, if it was in a movie, I probably got killed. I started tearing the wall out, and there's this big, beautiful rock chimney. So the chimney
and beneath the chimney now. And beneath the chimney is an ancient burial ground.
Well, you also never know because the prohibition, you could cut on an old house, you could come across, a hidden room where somebody was hiding hooch, things like that.
There's a hidden room behind the chimney. Well, there was a hidden room behind the chimney. It's no longer there. We made that part of the closet now. These folks that I bought a still from that was on Marketplace on Facebook, they had bought a house, and the barn had started falling in, so they started pulling stuff out of the barn, and they found this still. And I wound up buying the still from them, but they had found a hidden room in the house that basically there was some type of lever system in one room, and an entire wall in the other room opened up. So there was a lot of that, especially in Appalachians, false floors where stuff was hidden under floors.
And it sounds like you have some hidden bodies underneath your chimney.
It's possible. My theory is that the little girl may have drowned here. I don't know.
Oh, great! So you have the ring situation.
Right.
And the little girl is very, very nice, though. She's a little mischievous. You can go to look for something and it won't be where you left it.
Oh.
And you can look and look and look and not find it. And if you ask very nicely to have it returned, hey, please, I need this, whatever. 10 or 15 minutes later, it'll be right back where you had left it.
See, you're a little too polite. First of all, you have a drowning. That makes you think of The Ring. I don't know if you've seen the movie The Ring or not. That's one of the very few horror movies that scared the shit out of me. So you have some mischief ghost girl who drowned in the house, and you're asking her nicely to return your ginseng. Now, that's not going to work out very well, man. I see some bad shit going down. We have to get Paul Dale Roberts over there to do the paranormal investigation.
I think that the old woman and the little girl like me. I've never had a run-in with the old man. My wife, though, she has been pushed twice. One time, some old my wife was a vet tech before she hurt her back. And this lady had brought a goose in that had a screwed up leg and was wanting to put the goose down. And my wife was like, hey, let me take the goose home with me, try to rehabilitate it. And if I can't rehabilitate it, then I'll just cook it. And that way, you're not putting poison in it and putting it in the landfill. So we've got a creek that runs through the property, and my wife had dammed up a little place where the goose could get out there and not have to necessarily walk on its leg, but could use its leg. And let me tell you, my wife got that goose worth of walking. It walked funny, but she got the goose worth of walking. She was sitting out there by the creek, her and her best friend, and she was kind of hunched down, and she got squatted down with her feet on a rock. And she said something about that she didn't know if the goose was going to make it. She thought she might have to cook the goose, and somebody pushed her from behind.
You ever had the house blessed by a priest?
No, we've saged it a couple times, and the second time she was walking down the steps, going downstairs, and she was actually shit-talking me. Not that I didn't deserve it, because you can guarantee that 90% of the time she's shit-talking.
We never do, yeah.
And something pushed her from behind. She didn't fall down the steps, but that's happened twice. And we have a deal now. Don't matter if we're mad at each other or not. We don't shit talk each other at home.
That's because you gotta bless the house with sage and a nice jar of moonshine. And you just get the little water bottle, put the shine there, and you just go like that, and you just rye apple. Get right.
A priest, they live for that kind of stuff. It's like the one time they feel useful.
Oh, jeez. All right, guys, we're going to go into our second commercial break, and we'll be right back with the round table. Shake and bake.
Okay.
Oh, I missed a part. Oh.
Yeah. Well, do you have the stuff or not? What do you mean you don't have it? Freaking deal. Where am I supposed to get it at? Fine. Well, then you do your thing! Fudge. What kind do you want? Yeah. There's no need. Someone else is packing my fudge now.
What's up? We're back. And here is the second half hour of the show. I'd like to go ahead and bring on the rest of the round table. We got Paul Dale Roberts, at least half of a Paul Dale Roberts. Where's the rest of you?
It's right here.
That's right, you and Ewok will have the half body shots.
Hey, Ewok, see this? California Department of Fish and Wildlife. I used to work with them, and I was a firefighter with California Division of Forestry, which is now CAL FIRE. So, and those guys, those wardens, and rangers, and everything else, they have a lot of Bigfoot stories.
Oh, that's good.
Right on.
Yep.
So we also have Executioner.
What's up, X?
We have Wrangler Day is live from the vehicle. You can tell me that story later. Been there.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
So the reason why I'm in my car is our local power company decided to kill the power to the whole neighborhood to replace a telephone pole.
How dare they?
They did it just to you.
Don't know if you guys can hear me.
We hear you.
We can hear you.
They're like, damn it, we want to piss off Wrangler Dave, so we're just going to cut his damn power out.
Just trying to screw up the show.
So Paul Del Roberts, what do you think of the haunting going on at the Ewok residence?
Hey, I mean, definitely. I mean, it sounds like something's going on. I wish I could be there physically and bring my equipment, find out what's going on, bring my psychic medium Wishfire, and see what she can detect. I mean, that is really some stuff going on there.
Yeah, I suggested moonshine and sage, but I'm sure they already did the sage part. But
yeah.
So at least the little girl and the mom like Ewok is probably we don't know who was attacking the wifey. That could be the jealous mom ghost.
I'm just wondering if you guys can do a search and see if anybody drowned at that swimming hole when it was an actual pool. That would have to.
I'm working on that. I just found a historian that actually knows a lot about this area here in the county. So he is the guy that I have been sent to go talk to, and I intend on doing that. And said he would probably even have pictures of the old pool, because the pool got filled in by the people that owned the house before us. And I did find a sign in the attic that would have been at the end of our driveway that pointed to where we live. And here it is. You guys ready for what the name of the swimming hole was?
What's that?
Crystal Lake.
Oh damn it! I was just gonna make a joke. What, Crystal Lake? I was just gonna say that too. Damn it!
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, so you probably need to pack your shit and move out of there as soon as possible. You got some girl from The Grudge in the Ring who drowned in a pool there called Crystal Lake. That's a combination between a little girl and Jason Voorhees. That's gonna be terrible.
Awesome. We didn't know Jason had a sister.
I didn't either, but that's a scary thought.
That's cool though, especially if you can find like a newspaper article from that time period. I know there's websites that a lot of authors use. Some of them you gotta pay for, but you can search for that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. So we were talking about Bigfoots earlier, Paul, and you messaged me that I got a good Bigfoot story, so I would not deny you a Bigfoot story. So my friend, let it go.
Thank you, Leatherface. In fact, that was an investigation that you missed. We went to Mount Shasta. I brought about 6 investigators with me. We did a wood-on-wood type communication, because Bigfoot is known to take a piece of wood and strike it against a tree. And so that's what I did. So I did 3 strikes against a tree, and right behind me was a creek. And in that creek, you can hear 3 rocks hitting the water. Well, bears don't throw rocks. And there was no people around us except the 6 investigators which were right next to me, and I would have known if they threw a rock into the creek. And so I got a response, 3 hits, wood on wood, and then 3 drops of a rock into a creek. So I actually think that, and Mount Shasta is known for Bigfoot, the last of the Lemurians, UFOs going into the Mount Shasta. I mean, anything that's mysterious. Even Count Saint Germain was seen there in 1932. So Mount Shasta is a very mystic mountain, and I think that was the closest I ever came to a Bigfoot. And working with California Department of Fish and Wildlife, many hunters have told me that they have seen or encountered Bigfoot. So something's going on out there, definitely.
It's almost the same story I was talking about. my buddy I went camping with there never hit stuff against a tree like that. That was the first time doing that. And I honestly think that we were hitting wood against the tree, which is a beacon to the other families and Bigfoots out there. I think when they showed up, they were expecting other Bigfoots, and they got there, it was us. 2 drunken idiots there at the river hitting logs against the tree.
Yeah. Well, also too that we did an investigation at Skinwalker Ranch, and in fact, I went up there with 2 investigators, and we heard this screeching noise that was just weird. And maybe that was Bigfoot, I don't know, but I didn't see it. But it was a sound that I'm not familiar with. So we had that going on over there.
Ew. So what did you think about the Bigfoot videos we showed earlier, Paul?
You know, there's so much stuff now on the internet, and it's just hokey pokey. I mean, it's hard for me to believe. And why haven't they checked the DNA on that Bigfoot head? I mean,
we found Bigfoot right here. There he is. Tristan from Purple Sticky. Welcome to the show. pretty big foot. Kind of looks like Jesus. Jesus Bigfoot.
He's muted. You're muted, Purple Sticky.
Oh, he is muted, huh? There you go.
Hey guys, sorry about that. I got real crap connection.
Oh, we expected that from you, but Tristan, come on.
Friggin' BG&E. You're muted, Tristan.
I muted my mic on purpose.
Oh, you did.
Okay.
Well, that's not allowed.
I was doing everybody a favor.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
So welcome to the show. We got Ewok, Executioner, Paul Dale Roberts, Phil, Regular Days, me, and we have Ewok. Talking about some Bigfoot and some ghosts. Especially ones underneath his house with that chimney in the background.
Oh yeah. Skinwalker Ranch. That was interesting.
That even looks haunted in the background.
That is some spooky looking work there.
I kind of chose this place on purpose.
It's perfect.
If you guys hear noise coming out of my background, I live around the corner from the racetrack, so they're doing races right now.
You're all sorts of fun tonight, aren't you?
Yep. That's why I'm normally in my office where you can't hear none of this.
Oh, jeez. So, Ewok, back to you. So I tried to get Mark and Digger to come on here. I've bugged them a couple times over this past year, and they're not too into the paranormal thing. I think one of them likes to play around with it just to tease the other one. But it all comes down to this thing called juju. Why don't you go ahead and explain to a new Southern person like me and everybody else on here, what's juju?
Juju, karma, what you put out is what you get back. The golden rule, some people call it. Doing to others as you have been doing to you. Well, basically, it's how you do with others is what comes back on you. So basically, it's what you put out comes back tenfold.
Karma.
Put out bad, comes back on you tenfold. Put out good, comes back on you tenfold.
So basically, when a bunch of pagans come and do a ritual somewhere with a bunch of Blair Witch Project shit and ginseng hanging from the tree, don't fuck with it, right?
Yeah, don't fuck with it. That was prayers and ceremony. And, that's about the same as walking in the middle of the church and shitting right in front of the pulpit.
Yeah, I would have made a pretty quick U-turn. Like at that point, I would realize that this isn't gonna work for me.
I'm not scared of none of that stuff.
Why not?
Hey, it doesn't bother me. My wife's a witch.
So am I.
You hit it from both of you. All right.
Yep. So, I have somewhat of an understanding of it. So, I know just be respectful and call it back.
Yeah. They put that thing right in the middle of the trail, though. So, I mean, there was literally no way for you guys not to run into that. You would think if they wanted something to be respected and be protected, they wouldn't put it, dead center in the middle of the only path in that area.
Well, running into it, like
it looked like a path, but it really wasn't a path. That was actually a small clearing outside of a river.
A grove is what that was.
well, it's like running into it's one thing when you run into it and you start cutting shit down and moving stuff around and that's when
be on it, but if you got to walk around something to get somewhere, it's I know I've watched a lot of movies, don't go over Indian burial grounds and all that kind of stuff, but that didn't look like an Indian burial ground. That looked like some Blair Witch shit, or maybe some teenagers wanted to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, at least Ewok was like, nah, man, don't fuck with that. Let's be cool. They're just like, that's gonna just pull us out. It feeds the family. You're dead. Later on in that movie, some fucking scary monster is gonna come around the corner and is gonna cut your butthole in half because you had to pull this ginseng off the tree and fuck the juju thing up.
I remember right out back in my dad's business once, where we used to get there early in the morning when it was still dark, and the backside of it was dirt, dirt road into it, and there was a deer head with the hooves kind of like crossed behind it, just right there in the middle of the driveway, kind of waiting for us that morning. So it's, I don't know, sometimes I think people just have to screw with you.
Yeah, no.
Warning.
What about you, Tristan? Ghost stories.
What?
Ghost stories. Bigfoot. What's going on?
Bigfoot ghost stories? No, I don't know.
And Raekwon doesn't count. That's a supernatural being.
No, that's funny because I should say that I found Bigfoot.
You found Raekwon.
I know where he stays. In Westchester, Pennsylvania. He
Oh,
does walk around like a Bigfoot and like half naked too.
You know what we should do, man? We
Yeah.
should kidnap him and go throw him in the middle of a fucking mustard field.
jeez.
He would hate that. What is it, like mustard seeds or something?
Yeah.
Makes him throw up.
I don't have any ghost stories. I guess, something I've told people in the past, they say they can relate to, maybe you guys can relate to. When I was younger, most of us can only remember back to like age 4. But, so when I was 4, my family moved we moved from a townhouse into like a nice size, like 3-story house. And, long story short, my bedroom had like, when I would go to bed, I would see like people standing in front of my closet. Like they were guarding the closet, but they were staring at me no matter where I was in the room. And I didn't sleep for like 10 years. Like I sweat myself to sleep for like 10 years because like I had people staring at me. And as I grew older, I realized maybe it was like residual energy of something that was just stuck at the house. Maybe it wasn't even seeing me. But has anyone ever encountered anything like that when they've, been living somewhere and it's just something that's there consistently and doesn't even bother you?
I agree.
So, like Tristan, they call that imprints of former people.
Okay.
So, and one way you can get rid of that is to take sage and do what is known as a smudging. A sage smudge will get rid of that.
He was trying to do some smudging, but he didn't have no moonshine to it, so it didn't work.
Yeah, well.
What your parents say? As a kid going through that, you had to share it with somebody, right?
No, I did not. In fact, it got weird too because on the top of my windowsill,
well, look at
there
that.
would be
You can see my
stuff
dick
written.
from here.
Yeah, it said that. No, it would say it said "fuck you, Patrick" on my windowsill.
Jesus.
I was like, "Who's Patrick?" And so I took an eraser and I erased it. And I remember I was like maybe like 7 when I saw that, and it came back like written perfectly and everything. So like I was dealing with something that was like living in that room, I guess like as an imprint, but maybe when I would change anything, it would go back to the way whatever it is wanted it that way. And it was all through the house. There was different stuff in the house, but they were all in front of closets, which was the weird thing. They were all standing in front of closets, like they were either guarding the closets or maybe if it was an imprint, because it looked like kids, maybe they were all hiding in closets. I don't know. Maybe some shit went down in that house, but I don't live there anymore. I just
Tristan,
if anybody else
Tristan made it out of the closet.
Yeah. I didn't get stuck in the closet. I let the world know, hey, I'm out. Yeah, no.
I'm out of there.
So did you ever try talking to them?
Did I ever what?
Did you ever try talking to them, the people that were in front of the closet?
Well, so when I moved out, I didn't there, but when I moved out of the house, I realized it wasn't the house necessarily. Like there's something with me. Like I might have been a doorway or something. So I would start to go anywhere else, and the longer I'd be places, I would see whatever energy was left there. Sometimes things would try and contact me, and not to get into a longer story, but yeah, a story I've already shared with Otherface in the past is I did have something pull my hair and start kicking me and like pushing me to the ground, and I had my family witness it. And so yeah, I started speaking then, and it took a while, and it almost started as if like, you know, when you're at a fair or a carnival and you hear all the noise from the music and the people talking and all the shit, and then you hear like one distinct noise, like someone calling your name over all that. That's what I would hear. It would be really muffled, but it would sound like someone was yelling for me. And it just took a long time, but I had to focus, and then finally, I figured out who it was, and at that time, and actually made like contact. But yeah, so I mean, I have tried to communicate, but as of now, if I see anything, like it's not something where I can be like, "What's up? What do you want?" I only see like it looks like if you were to look out on a hot summer day, like a mirage, how like you see a puddle in the road. That's how they look to me. Almost like that Donnie Darko shit that came out of their chest. That's how they kind of look when I see them.
So who did it turn out to be? You said you.
Oh, we're gonna go there. We're gonna go there. Okay.
Rake it.
I mean, I'm hanging there on the end, and you're not saying that it's.
Well, no. So who I was telling you that I actually spoke to, that happened 3 years ago, and that came from hanging out at someone else's place, and it ended up being Brian Dunn, who had contacted me. But this is after I had actually stayed at Bam's Castle and been with Bam for a little bit, and yeah. So basically, the message was to befriend Bam because he didn't have anybody that wasn't doing anything that was like, normal. He didn't have anybody like him that had kids and was having fun and doing, following their dreams or whatever. Everybody that he had around him was doing drugs. And so, of course, I look like the rock star type, so they're like, that's the drug dealer. And then I got him like that. And